Because I'm trying to find my soul purpose when I stare through a window, and my soul's purpose when I stare through a mirror. And when I illustrate art, it's like I've drawn curtains. We sit in straight darkness, but then you realize light is reflective. And life is perspective. And life gives blessings, but inside that blessing is either a lesson or something to lessen you. It just depends on your perspective and how that reflects on you. So instead, I relate to your burden of pain.
Welcome to Inspiring Voices, the podcast of the Sing Up Foundation. We believe in harnessing the power of singing to improve mental health and well-being for children and young people.
In this series, we're capturing lots of different perspectives and chatting with practitioners, researchers, young people, and more to make connections and to understand more deeply the unique role of singing, songwriting, voice exploration, and creative music making in transforming children and young people's mental health and well-being.
This second series focuses particularly on how we can inspire young voices, and especially on how children and young people who have particular challenges in their lives that can affect their mental health can be supported through singing and music making. Inspiring Voices, the podcast of the Sing Up Foundation.
Please remember to subscribe and leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. It really will help us to get the word out. Thanks for listening, and now on with the show. Welcome back to our Young Sessions. This is the second of two episodes where we're hearing directly from young people about how singing and vocal work impacts their lives. I'm Baz Chapman.
And I'm Sally Barbaria, and we're continuing on with our conversation with Afia Lukum-Davis from Lewisham Music. And in this episode, we're going to hear from two young people who are artists, Mimi Monroe and HJ, who talk really powerfully about music as medicine and therapy.
So, Afia, both of these young people have spoken really openly about using music to process trauma and difficult experiences, and the sort of the value of putting pen to paper and letting those emotions come out through the lyrics that are formed. So I guess that must present some quite interesting challenges, as well as being opportunities for your practitioners when they're working with the young people.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's how to deal with things sensitively and with empathy as well. And it's about making sure what they're trying to do in the session is constructive rather than being harmful, because it's all well and good talking about a situation, but if we aren't coming to some sort of solution or like thinking about how we can put it into a productive kind of format, like if we're putting it into lyrics or something like that, then that doesn't really benefit the young person as much. But again, I think it's really important for lyric writing, because with lyric writing, obviously, it's a very open experience. So being able to talk about those things with your peers as well, which I think a lot of them are really great at doing, again, creates that safe space, like we were saying before, and allows the facilitator to again connect with that young person, and for the young person to then connect with the facilitator in turn and create that closer working relationship. And again, meaning they'll come back to the sessions because of like, oh, this person understands me and they've sort of validated my feelings and made me feel like this is okay to feel this way. And if I do feel this way, how can I speak about it in a constructive sense? I can put it through my song lyrics. I can make a beat on Logic or something like that.
And do your facilitators have any sort of external support to help them? Because, I mean, dealing with people who may be coming in to talking about traumas or, you know, anything like that, sometimes it seems like maybe they might need something too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it would actually be me, or it would be Keith, who's our designated safeguarding lead. So if anything does come up that's particularly concerning, then it will come through to me. And then if it does need to be escalated, it would go through to Keith. So we do ensure that our facilitators are really supportive. And if we know that any issues have come up, constantly checking in on our facility to see if they're okay and see if they've spoken again with the young person to make sure things are moving swiftly. And, you know, like I said before, we work with quite vulnerable young people at the time, so these things can come up. So yeah, just continually making sure the facilitators are okay and know that we are supporting them, and like just making sure they know the means of reporting and who certain things go to.
Obviously, the practitioners aren't therapists, so
yeah.
I wonder, do the lines get blurred sometimes? How do they deal with that?
I think it is providing that platform and getting them to the end stage, because they might not fix the problem, but it's giving you an option, it's giving you an outlet. Essentially, it's like, do you want to go to the gym, do you want to like write a song about it, do you want to sing, sort of things. It's providing young people different options, because they're still young, and like emotional regulation isn't maybe something that they're used to dealing with. It's like, how do you navigate all of these hundreds of teenage emotions that they're going through? Like, how do I get through these feelings? So yeah, again, providing them a space and a platform and an outlet is the most important thing that they do, I think.
And have you had sort of feedback where they've seen a real difference from the young people?
In terms of things like parents and carers and things like that feeling bad, we have had a lot of amazing feedback from that. Like, young people's confidence building incredibly. Like, this isn't a young person who's on our vocal group, but just a young person who just didn't have that much confidence 2 years ago, and now they're on stage, like, you know, hyping up the audience and getting them involved in like singing things and things like that. So like, just the confidence of the young people, we always have feedback about that, and that's what we're here to do. As I said, we're like a stepping stone, and to be able to say, I'm going to put my music out, or to be able to say, I'm going to go to university, you do need some confidence in yourself and to get there. So yeah, we are there to provide that for them.
Fantastic. Well, let's hear from Mimi and HJ and Tony Ann, and let's hear them have a say about how music functions in their lives.
Music is medicine. Exploring self-discovery through therapeutic music expression. This episode's themes will highlight how young people can find their voice, demonstrating that communicating and connecting through artistry and self-expression offers a unique lens into the reality of their growing creative world. Through engaging conversations and insights, this episode will showcase youth musical expression and music as medicine from the youth perspective. I'm your host, Tony Ann Gurdon, and today we have Mimi Monroe and HJ. Welcome. How are you guys today?
Good, thank you.
Very good. Thank you for having us.
It's amazing to have you here, and I must say I'm quite privileged to have both of you in the room. I'm a big fan of the work that you both do, and Mimi and how you flourished in the past couple of years has just been absolutely phenomenal for me to witness.
Thank you.
HJ, we're talking about you a lot on the spoken word scene. You're an up-and-coming rapper, and I'm just overjoyed to find out more about your career and what you're doing today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Today, we're going to start with our icebreaker, and this segment is called Tony Ann's Talent Triage segment. So if music was a medicine, what prescription would you guys prescribe to someone to uplift their mood?
I don't have a particular song, but I do have a genre of music. And if I want to get into a really great mood, I listen to house music.
Why? What does it make you feel?
Move. It makes you move. Like, yeah. So it's the dancing along with the music that will uplift you, for me personally.
I love that. And I recently learned something new from a friend. When I'm feeling a bit sad, I should get up, put on a song and literally just shake. Yeah. Just start dancing and shake. I say shaking because I do not know how to coordinate my limbs to dance. So shaking is the closest we've gotten there. HJ.
Yes.
What about you?
House was a very good answer. Very, very good answer. I would probably, for me personally, it's grime. I love grime. It always gets me like motivated or gassed to do something. But if I'm thinking in a more general consensus, probably go with like something Michael Jackson. Like I would go with Human Nature by Michael Jackson. That's my answer.
That's amazing. Okay, I love that. And those are some really diverse, insightful suggestions as well. And that kind of leads into our next topic, because the genres that you've both mentioned, house and grime, are two genres that were very much pioneered in the UK. They are genres that are about self-expression, connecting with people, finding self. Our first question is, could you tell us a little bit more about your background and what inspired your journey into music?
Oh, me first. A bit more about my background. Well, first of all, I'm 20 years old. My background is that I'm Indian, but I've grown up in the UK. And what inspired me to do music was actually my dad. My dad, he worked in a studio when he was younger. And then after he had me and my brother, he became a guitar teacher for a little bit. And following in his footprints is kind of like why I'm on this journey right now, because he couldn't let his dreams come true because of obviously having kids and life happened. So, and he was always my biggest inspiration in life, always is. And seeing him just pick up the guitar, being able to play anything, it really inspired me to just, because one day he bought a piano, came home, and I just pressed the keys and it sounded cool. And I was like, wait, I think music is something I really enjoy. So that's how I started music. And yeah, that's always going to stay in my head as my reason to keep going.
Mimi, what about you?
So I grew up in a house where music was constantly playing. My mother is Mauritian, my father is Jamaican, and from him, that's where I got my love of rap music from. Like, he used to listen to Eric B, Rakim, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Nas, and like that's what I grew up listening to. And my mum was really into like her funk and her soul. So that's the kind of music that I grew up on. Not necessarily saying that inspired me to make music. I think it was more experience that happened in life and I didn't know how to vent. So I was at that younger writing poetry, and then that kind of transformed into what is now me rapping. So it was like coming out of a bad breakup and writing diss tracks. That's what got me into music. So that was where my inspiration come from. It came from bad experience, probably.
And what about you, HJ? What would you say? Where does your musical expression come from within your pieces of work?
Well, similar kind of things. It was a lot of trauma, and I needed a kind of an outlet just to express myself through. And I started off just one day I was home alone. I had my Apple headphones and an iPad. I made a beat and then I rapped over it. It was terrible, but it kickstarted my journey. And, you know, that's what basically the constant drive from then on, because I was like, okay, this is actually working. I'm feeling better. I'm putting this negative energy, having to something that I like and it's positive. And through that, I just carried on making music, kept on doing it. It was still terrible, but I loved it. And it was the fun that I was having. But the more you practice, the better you get at it. And here I am now.
And talking about that, you know, you both speak from a place of great introspection. And, you know, HJ, you said it wasn't always the greatest when you started.
No, it was terrible.
Do you feel the same, Mimi? Is there a point in your career where you thought, oh gosh, this is not great. I want to be the rapper that I envision, the poet that I see. And why did that change?
No, and that's really sounds like very egotistical. But I've always been good because I strive to be the best at anything that I do. So before I even would let anything come out, I would make sure that this is it. Like, this is going to hit. Like, people are going to feel this, because I can't take embarrassment. That's why I can't do that. And yeah, I don't think there's ever been a point where, obviously along the journey you have your doubts, but it's never been about my lyrical ability or my rapping ability. So yeah, sorry guys.
I love that. You know what? I think we should formally rescind that apology. And going into meeting you for the first time was at an event called Garage Girls. But at that time, that was the first time I'd really come out of the house and gone to an event, from being housebound, bedbound for the past 4 or 5 years previously to that point. And I sat at the back because I felt really tired. I was feeling a little bit nervous not being around a lot of people. And I remember hearing someone just on the mic, and it was you. And I didn't know that at the time. But your voice and what you were saying and how you were barring and how you were going in made me get up from all the way in the back of the garden and try to get towards the front to see who was on the mic. And I decided to be brave in that moment and offer my congrats, my awe of you. And I just remember how humble you were. You know, you're saying to me that you're just kind of doing a bit more of stuff, and kind of what you're saying now, that you're honing your craft and you know who you are and you know what direction you're going in. And I just found it so empowering speaking to you. Fast forward 5 years on, I've seen you do so many things. I've had the privilege to come to one of your music shoots as well, which was just a completely different experience for me, watching you in your element. It's just, yeah, it's beautiful to me. So thank you.
No, thank you. I mean, I haven't heard, obviously, your side of that story. Do you know what I mean? And 2019, I only started rapping in 2018. So to hear that from other people, it's like, okay, so this actually makes sense. And a lot of the time, people are nervous or they don't want to speak. And I'm not a big speaker. Like, if I go to an event, I'm quite shy. I don't like networking. I'll be 100% real. People say like that's the key to a lot of things, but I hate it. So even like you having the confidence to come up to me and say those things, that's amazing for me as well. So thank you for that.
No, you're welcome, and thank you. And that kind of segues me into the next question. What advice would you both give to a young person struggling to express themselves musically?
I would say before you think about making music, you kind of have to let everything out before you do that. And when I first started making music, a good way to do that for me was to write things down. I don't write things down now because I put everything in my notes in my phone. But at that point, when I was starting out, putting pen to paper, there's something magical about putting pen to paper. It literally felt like the feelings were leaving my body as I was writing them down. And it wasn't necessarily that I was writing lyrics or I was writing rhymes. It could have just been how you're feeling today. Even keeping a diary. I know it sounds so like silly, but you have to let your feelings out before you can kind of mold them into song, for me. So I would say to a young person, let your feelings out and also be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else or what you think will sound great or what you think everybody wants to hear, because it's not going to sound authentic. That's my advice.
That's a great piece of advice.
It's a very good answer. You basically covered all grounds. I was going to say, I think find your voice is the most important thing when it comes to expressing yourself musically. Like you said, be authentic to yourself. Don't try to be anybody else. Because at the start, when I was doing music, I kept trying to sound like Getz. Because he's my favorite in the UK. One of my favorites of all time. I kept trying to sound like Getz. And it just, I was like, why does it not sound good? It doesn't sound good to me. And then when I started to use my voice and find who I was like, okay, here's the authenticity that I wanted. Here's like me barring, like I'm doing everything from me. It feels like it's me. I'm not getting imposter syndrome and stuff. Like it's all me. And yeah, I feel like if you're struggling to express yourself musically, listen to a lot more genres. Listen to what you think could, what your sound would pertain to. So if, like, let's say you're a singer, and let's say your pop's not doing it for you, try R&B, try all the genres and everything. And there's different sub-genres within those genres. Honestly, music is endless. There's plenty of ways you can find your sound, but I think that's very important as well.
And sometimes you can be a pioneer as well.
Exactly.
Like when you mix different mediums and topics together. So I think that was a really, really good suggestion. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Do you remember the first song or piece of music that had a profound impact on you?
I would say How Much a Dollar Costs by Kendrick Lamar was probably the one that had the biggest effect because of how he was telling a story. And because to me, storytelling is one of the most creative things in hip hop, because the way he was telling the story about, he was this rich man, saw a poor man on the side of the road, and he wouldn't give him money, and he was almost angry at him for asking for him for money because he's worked so hard to get all of this money and this whole status about him. But this guy is essentially a bum sitting there asking for money from him, and he gets annoyed. But then the twist in the story is that was a test from God, and now he's lost his spot in heaven. And it's that kind of realization that we all just need to be compassionate with each other, as corny as that sounds. It took away from, because rap, like, it's very egotistical. Everybody thinks they're the best, and that's completely fine. It's part of the culture, and that's what it is. Right? Like, I think I'm the best. You probably think you're the best as well, and we probably have the skills to show for that as well. But it also shows, like, with that, I was like, wait, but he's not rapping trying to be the best. He's not being super lyrical. He's telling a story and he's giving you advice. He's giving you a lesson. And artists like that, I think, need to be shown to younger people. Not like these drill artists talking about killing people and stuff like that. I think that needs to be shown to kids, because that flipped my whole mindset around and changed the way I write, changed what I talk about. And now I'm eternally grateful to Kendrick Lamar. He's my favorite artist of all time.
I love that. That's a beautiful answer. What about you, Mimi?
I couldn't pinpoint one song. I'm going to say artists that have been the most impactful to me. I'm going to say Adele. I'm going to say Fabulous. And I'm going to say Nipsey Hussle.
That's a really good answer. I think for me, again, it's not one song either. It's an actual album. And it was the first album I was ever given, which was Dido, Life for Rent. But what I was going for at the time in life as well, we had been moving around a lot as well as a kid. So Life for Rent as an album really spoke to my life at the time because I felt like it was a life for rent. So it was a really, really good album, and I learned a lot about artistry through listening to her and watching her videos as well. So yeah, that would probably be the most impactful sound for me. How can young people use their voices as tools for well-being and self-discovery? So how did you use your voice for your well-being, and how did it help you with your self-discovery?
So in terms of well-being, and this is going to sound very cliche, but music for me is my therapy. And going to, as much as like I love making music, and essentially it's what I do, not necessarily for work, but that's how people will put it. So it's almost like you kind of have to go. I love going to the studio and making music. And whenever I have been going through something, going to the studio and releasing all of my emotions is like the best feeling ever. It releases endorphins that the gymnasium cannot give you. Like, I go to the gym and I do not feel that great, like coming out of the gym sometimes, but going to the studio, no matter what mood I'm in, I always feel amazing afterwards. So in terms of my well-being, mentally, like it's the best medicine I could prescribe for myself. I can't say that for everybody, but for myself, that's the best medicine for me. I think it's kept me afloat. It's kept me sane. It's made me more self-aware about the things that I probably need to change or need to improve in myself. And yeah, a lot of in terms of self-discovery, you learn stuff about yourself that you may not know about yourself through other aspects of life, through music. For me, like you learn how like creative you are, or how intelligent you are. Because sometimes I come out with stuff and I think, how did I think of that? Like I always done well at school, and like English was like one of my favorite subjects. But sometimes I think, I really said that. Like, yeah. How did I even think of that? So it's mind-boggling. Yeah, but it's amazing regardless.
I love that. That's like the rubber stamp of barology.
Yeah.
And HJ, what about you?
I don't even know how, to be honest. It kind of just like happened. When I was a kid, a lot of the time I'd always feel like I was a bit dumb and a bit stupid. Not necessarily academically. In school, well, actually, yeah, academically, I wasn't really doing the best. But I was always good at music and English. I ended up getting a grade 9 in music and a grade 7 in English. So I knew that there was something there. And one day I just combined the two together. And through that, music kind of became my safety net that I could fall back on every time life was getting too much. Every time I'd get a bit panicky over things going on, I was like, okay, let's just write something down. And I don't even like to really talk about what's going on in my life, in my music. I don't really do that too much. I just kind of use that energy to make it into something that I enjoy, whether that be barring out, basically just talking my stuff and whatnot. That kind of made me feel a lot better, made me feel like, okay, well, I've just taken that off my chest, and now it's turned into something that I enjoy listening to and rapping. And it was something that was really fun. And in terms of self-discovery, like you said, I found out how creative I was. And I've had so many points where I would show my dad and he'd be like, how did you come up with that? And I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know how I came up with it. I kind of just kept on writing to the point that it became muscle memory for me. And I feel like confident in myself now that I don't even have to really think too much. I could just write, and it's just mainly my soul's using the pen less than my mind. And that's how I kind of found my self-discovery and well-being, was just constant practice and so much stuff going on in life that I kind of had to fall back onto something that was my safety net, and it's always been music.
I love that. That's really insightful. Thank you for sharing with us.
No problem.
What's one lesson you've learned about respecting your artistry and valuing your voice?
When I started off doing events and people would say, oh yeah, that was amazing, I would never really take in that stuff, I'd always be like, yeah, it's not that great, is it? And I'd always go home feeling like, oh, I could have done better. But I think the most important thing to remember is if you're an artist, a young artist going to events and you're going to showcase your talent, always accept the validation that people give you. They're not just validating it for whatever reason. It's to show that your talent actually meant something and it was impactful. And I would always brush that off until like I've only been doing events for like a year now. So it was like the past 6 months, I was like, wait, I'm actually having an impact here. People are thinking about the things I'm saying, and the things I'm coming up with are people were sitting back home thinking about it, and my name is now being talked about. And it's like, you've got to respect that people come up to you and tell you these things, because if you don't accept that validation, you're going to kind of stay in the loop. You kind of need to accept it to grow and stuff like that.
For me, it's not being naked. And I know that sounds so like weird, but a lot of rappers that happen to be female, because I hate the term female rapper, like it's not a genre of music, is women are over-sexualized in order to have success or to be seen. But for me, it's like, I'm that good that I don't need to do that. Yeah. So that's that. In terms of respecting my artistry, it's not conforming. There's a lot of artists that you necessarily don't want to or have to associate yourself with, and I think protecting your brand is one of like the key things to respecting your artistry.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about music as a form of therapy?
I guess that what you're talking about, you're kind of glorifying, because looking back at the history of music, like NWA, what they were talking about the street life and the gang life, and they always got backlash because people thought they were glorifying it when they were just talking about their life. So I feel like that could be a pretty big misconception.
This might sound a bit negative, but using music as therapy is not going to solve all of your problems. There's a lot of things that go into having a positive mindset and making sure that your mental health is balanced, and using music solely to do that, in my experience, is wrong. So other things that I do, because I don't have a therapist, but that's something that I think I should have. And not because I think I'm crazy or whatever it is, but I feel like there's things that I want to improve about myself that I don't have the knowledge or know-how to be able to do that. And that's why I read a lot, and going to the gym is some sort of form of exercise. So yeah, music as therapy cannot solve all of your problems.
I find that when you're creative, you have a lot of thoughts and you have a lot of things up there. So therapy allows me to have a third party that can be impartial. And I think sometimes with young people, we can often, like you said earlier, H-Day, you can kind of go down a rabbit hole when you find something you love, because you're growing, you're trying to find things that you want to do, and then you stick to something, and it's often music or art, and then you kind of just want to do that all day, every day, and then you have trouble with trying to find balance. And, I think it's so beautiful what you said earlier, Mimi. Your dream and goal is to be a full-time artist, but currently you're not in that position, and you have to respect your life as well, and you have to have your balance, and you have to go to work, but then you also have your artistry where you have to invest in that. You're investing in yourself all the time.
Yeah.
So it's a really, it's amazing to hear how both of you approach that outlook on life as well. Thank you. So in this segment, we have the Creative Showcase. And this is the part of the show where you get to showcase your talents. Do you have a rap, a song, or a spoken word piece that you want to share with us at the end of the episode today?
Okay, well, this is one of my favorite pieces called Mirrors and Windows. And I think I did it at Flow Vortex last time.
Can I click my fingers?
Of course you can.
Okay, great.
That's better. I'd rather hear that than just silence. All right, this one's called Mirrors and Windows. When I was a kid, I used to think windows were mirrors. And now I think mirrors are windows. Because I see through pain in both. And I reflect in both. So when you stare at my eyes, do you see a window to me or a mirror to you? Because I'm trying to find my soul purpose when I stare through a window, and my soul's purpose when I stare through a mirror. And when I illustrate art, it's like I've drawn curtains. We sit in straight darkness, but then you realize light is reflective. And life is perspective. And life gives blessings, but inside that blessing is either a lesson or something to lessen you. It just depends on your perspective and how that reflects on you. So instead, I relate to your burden of pain. When I'm gazing at my mirrors, it reminds me of an airport in certain ways. Because I feel like I'm hurting in ways where I thought unloading all my baggage will let me take off, but really I'm still left in a terminal state. Seeing the merciless pain the journey to my gate is made with my ascension awaits. I've left behind cargoes worth the pain that you could pass ports for miles until you've entered a new continent. Can you see how bad the journey aches? I tried to run away from my hurtful mistakes, flirted with danger when I was working my way up. This turbulence made my wings hurt, but I accepted pressure. Because I'm my father's son. But I keep thinking, am I the descendant to descend us? Because when I look through my dad's windows, I saw him to be a king, leaving his prints in the sky. But when I try to sprint to those heights, it's like I can't handle the air pressure. Ain't it plain to see? My reflection showing a lot of weight in my baggage that I can't get on board with. I'm my blood storing so many stories. I'm full of flaws, but aren't we all? Because I was always told time is money, so I paid attention till I was left so broke. They paid no interest in me even when I was left alone. And sometimes acknowledgement is the best therapy, no? But therapy costs money. Do my windows not show I've already paid the price? And therapy costs money. I can't buy into giving you a share of what's in stock when you're already broke. You can't afford to invest in a little company. So can you see that inside I'm brave, but if you scan these lines, each bar codes the prices I've paid. And I see words as my baby born through the struggle of hate, torn through my muscles, aimed to torture my heart. And can you see that it weren't born easy? Can you see sections of my life where they seem relentless to slice through my stomach because they're unable to endure this hunger, reflecting then an out-of-body experience because I'm telling me ICU was one in need of intensive care. And then I swear, when I'm pushing and I'm putting labor, you could see I'm sweating its mission because you tell me to push harder, but that's just putting pressure to deliver. So can you be surprised if I say instead I pull now? Because I knew brothers from the streets covering up emotions in a hood now. But they wouldn't let the hood down because they felt if they let the hood down that they let the hood down. But when I look through your windows, my brother, I say forget the hood now. It's mad. In fact, these kids are so used to carrying shanks, they've stabbed themselves in the back for a gang who couldn't care less if they got stabbed. In fact, why is it roadmen dressing black and now our parents have to match? Cost of living increasing, but can you imagine the cost of living in the wrong area, getting dealt the wrong hand with the kind of route you've gone? Because the price of raising a child would never amount to the price of losing one. And bang. Just like that. In the blink of an eye. Windows shattering. Mirrors cracking. You stand too close to scattered glass, stabs and cuts, leaving scabs and scars of the amount of blood you lost. And behind your windows, I see that it puts you in a mental prison. Thinking suicide could be that full stop to end your sentence. I've been there, so listen. Suicide ain't a full stop. That's just a comma for someone else to carry on your sentence. When I was there, I used those bars around me to speak bars, so each bar is a bar about me. Can't you see I've been caged for so long? When I was holding those bars, I wanted to hold no bars, but life was no holds barred. I had no choice but to bar barbarically, farm bars like a barn to be a bar, to bargain with the bars around my heart. I lost my handlebars, so this cycle starts, and I tried to handle bars and tried to craft density to a level where only I can handle bars. I saw the devil's bargain, and I split that bargain in half, so each bar gains my heart, but has my mirror fogged yet? Or has the devil broke it? Because I would phone in showing up as me. Connecting lines was tough because at the start, I'd get bad reception because I had no bars, but times have taught me, never lose signal even if at times you're lost, even if life is dark, because I hold up my numbers and I see God forbidding demons from auctioning my feelings off. The price is high and I can't buy it, so I would try to fight with rights. My mind and eyes are blind from light because I've lived my entire life in darkness. But if I'm a star, then I shine through the darkness. Mirrors and windows. Thank you.
Woo!
Woo!
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank
Some
you very much.
goosebumps. Sorry, I'm taking over. It's like I'm the host now.
I think we've just had the first podcast body transmutation. Because Mimi is now I, and I am now Mimi, because my spirit went up into the air and just went way back down and got a little bit tizzy there. That was
mind-blowing.
Thank you. See, you are one with me now. You are finishing my sentences.
I can't even help it. Like, that was so amazing.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
And
3rd of February, free tickets. BYOB, box.
And this is what I mean. This is why I wanted you both here. I wanted you to, one, come and showcase your talents, but I also wanted you to be aware of each other as well, because although you're different ages, you're doing different things, I can see the similarities in your journeys, and I definitely think you are both very much heavy hitters in your fields and what you're doing. And I just think you're both absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And is there anything that you have upcoming that you want to let the people know about, or anything they need to keep their eye out for, Mimi?
You can catch me on all social media platforms, X, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and that is Mimi Monroe, and that is spelled MIMIMXNROE.
And HJ, what about you?
You can find me on Instagram at The Real HJ. That's spelled The Real HJAY. Just like that. No spaces, no capitals. I don't think you do capitals on Instagram, but no full stops and underscores, that stuff. Just one word, just like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming onto the show, HJ, and thank you, Mimi. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me
here.
Well, that was terrific, and a huge thanks to Afia and everyone at Lewisham Music, and to Tony Ann, our host.
And a big, big thank you to HJ and Mimi Monroe. We'll see you guys next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Inspiring Voices. Please remember to subscribe and leave us a review on Apple or Spotify.
Videos of each episode are also available on Sing Up Foundation YouTube channel. For more about us, and to access our library of resources, or to donate to support our work, please visit www.singupfoundation.org.
Thanks to Becky Owen and The Refuge for our beautiful podcast music, specially arranged by Becky and adapted from her song Anemone.